Good morning, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. It's exactly 11 a.m. here in France, where I am. My name is Sharon Bly, and I lead Health and Wellness at the Consumer Goods Forum. A big thank you to everyone for joining today. As with all CGF webinars, we really want this to be an interactive session. We want to make sure we make the best use of our speakers' time and of your time, but we want to do that under, of course, the antitrust caution statement. And you should now all be able to see that statement on your screens if you're in front of a computer or on your phone. So if you could just take a moment to read the antitrust caution statement, and we will respect that during our call. Wonderful, thank you. So just as I said, we really want this to be an interactive session. You have a fantastic range of experts at your disposal on the webinar today. We'd love to get some questions going on the GoToWebinar system. If you're familiar with it, you have a question in the chat box here on the right-hand side or the left-hand side of your screen. So please don't hesitate to send through your questions as you hear all of our different speakers speaking. If you did want to send me directly an email, you can see my email here on the screen. It's s.bligh@theconsumergoodsforum.com. I'll be checking my emails throughout the webinar, and we'd be very happy to put through your questions to the speakers. So the idea today is we wanted to bring you through, of course, the challenging times that we are living through at the moment, a global crisis that is touching everyone, no matter where you are in the world, and a very surreal and scary times, I think, for people. And it has really brought through the spirit of this industry that I have the pleasure of working with every day, retailers and manufacturers and their partners all around the world. And we've seen an amazing response to COVID-19 and everything that this industry is doing to help either their own people, the customers, the shoppers that are coming into the stores, online operations, throughout the supply chain distribution centers. There's a huge amount of work going on behind the scenes. And we felt that it was a great idea to bring you some of the experiences from our colleagues in China, what we're doing either individually or collectively through Collaboration for Healthier Lives. So I'm thrilled to have a number of colleagues on the phone with me today from China, Jin Ren from Carrefour Suning China, Zulin Guo from the Alibaba Group, Fresh Depot, and myself, Sharon Bly. I'm the Director of Health and Wellness here at the Consumer Goods Forum. I would also get some comments from the co-chair of Collaboration for Healthier Lives, along with Ms. Ren, Duncan Dew of Nestle. So a great panel of people. Please do take the time to ask questions as we go throughout the webinar. So just to set the scene for you so that you all know what you're going to hear in the next couple of minutes, I wanted to give you really a 2-minute overview of Collaboration for Healthier Lives and what we're trying to achieve with over 100 companies now in 9 countries, and really working to raise 2 goals, driving healthier baskets and raising awareness on health and wellness. And this is just to give you the context on how we have used this collective to really work together collectively on the response to COVID-19. As you can see here on your screen, where we are active across the globe, and in each of these countries, there is a steering committee that's working to drive a Healthier Lives agenda. The team that you have here in China are working like all the teams with their employees, with the stores in action, and online with digital and data. And of course, we work to the Sustainable Development Goals number 2, 3, and 17. We have 2 main KPIs that I mentioned. It's really demonstrating how we can influence consumption towards healthier baskets and really progress that, how we're raising awareness on health and wellness across the globe with employees and with consumers, and then each market is tailor-making their measurement and reporting based on some of the health needs that they may have in a specific market. And so the team here in China, you can see all of the stakeholders on the screen, went live with their first in-store activations in October in 2019. And we've been working on our digital strategy and what we were going to do to influence healthier behaviors and support healthier lifestyles. And we've just been working on our digital strategy when COVID-19 hit. And so the team with the co-chairs, Carrefour and Nestle, and the support of all of the other team members said, what can we do in our own operations, but also as a collective to work together to support people through this very, very difficult health crisis. And that's what we want to share with you today. First, we want to share with you some individual company experiences from China, and then what the collective team has done together against COVID-19. And as the speakers are thinking, please do think of your questions. China is, for those of you who are sitting in Europe or in other parts of the world, I think there's a lot that we can learn from our colleagues in China. Maybe there's some lessons of things we could do differently or things we can accelerate as we move forward to battle this global health crisis. So to start off, we wanted to deep dive into Carrefour, part of the Sunning Group, what their actions to fight against the COVID-19 epidemic have been, followed then by Alibaba and Fresh Hippo, and then we'll give you an overview of the collective action that we've done through Collaboration for Healthier Lives. So I'll hand you over to Ms. Ren from Carrefour China to bring you through the actions, and I will be moving the slides, so don't hesitate to let me know, either send me questions or emails as we move forward. Thank you very, very much.
Mr. Ren, can you please unmute your microphone?
Hello, can you hear me?
Perfect, welcome.
Okay, good. Thank you. So thank you, Sharon, and thank you, everyone. And thank you for the chance for me to share what we have done in Carrefour China about to fight against COVID-19 epidemic. The web here in China is not so stable. So if the signal is not so good, or if I missed some information, just let me know. Okay, so I will start my sharing. Would you mind to change to the next page? Yes, okay. Today, maybe I would like to share with you from 4 aspects about what we have done in China as a retailer. And also, I think a lot of things have been done. It's not only what Carrefour is doing, it's many of them is, a lot of, retailers, we are doing things together. So the first part I call it one voice. So because the things start is around from a Spring Festival, and during that days, because we are on vacation, so especially for retailer, we are facing huge challenge. For example, we are short of people, and we are facing the needs, so we have to open our door. But how can we just protect ourselves, and how to be sure, like to make safe about all the foods and goods, in the stores. So in the industry, we think we should do something together. So it was initiated by the CCFA, that's the China Chain Store Franchise Association. And I think in the association, in CCFA, we draft jointly with other retailers like Walmart China, Aoyong China, and also with Ecolab. With this kind of company together, we draft this guide for food retailers, how to protect and facing the public health emergencies. So, and fortunately, yesterday we just finished the translation, because the first version of this guide is Chinese version, and yesterday we have made progress that we have translated the content into English. So you can see from the link I show on this page, just below the picture, is a link of the the free version PDF of this guideline. So if anyone think it's useful, you can just to get the full version. Or if you have any questions, maybe I can share the documents with Yang Ying later, and to share with all of you, because it's public and it's free, and just trying to help everyone to to know, what China has been done to fighting with the crisis. So within the guidebook, we focus on on several parts, like the totally, the strategy and the staff management, like, how many times you have to, to get the temperature or to wear the facial mask and this kind of things. And also including the most important part is about the cleaning and sanitation. And also if any emergency happened, how we can manage things. So you can just find all the answers about these parts within the guidebook. So next page, please. So the next one is about wild animal, because during the crisis, it was said that the disease was come from wild animals. But when we're talking about a wild animal, it means the protected wild animal. But when people find in some the aquatic products like the seafood in stores, they find they're labeled wild, wild shrimp or these kind of things. People are scared and, they don't know, if it's danger or not. And even some local governments, like the local FDA, they are confused about this. So we get a lot of, requirement that, we are forbidden to sell these kind of, wild things. So we work together with also with the industry, with our partners together, and also with the MSC, that's the Marine Steward Council together. And we write the notes and try to explain the situation that a wild animal is not included those seafood. So we write the announcement together and discuss with the summer. Summer is China FDA. And finally, we get the result is summer approved, our suggestions and publish announcement that the wild animal is not include the aquatic products. So by this action, we saved the value over 10 million RMB in China, because it's a huge industry. So this is the something we are facing during the crisis. And next page. And yes, as the first one I mentioned that, based on the guidebook, we think, we need to let people know, especially like within our retailers, within Carrefour China, we need everyone to know it. And also we want, our operator, our, staffs and our, industry friends, they also know how to do it. So we made a training video on our online training platform, because Carrefour, we have online training platform. You can easily to see the video from your mobile. It's around 20 to 30 minutes, but it's in Chinese. And but we can show you just some part of it about the video to let you know, what we have done. Would you mind to show the video? It's very short. Okay, I think the video, I cannot hear the voice of the video, but later on, if you have any needs, I can share with you, but it's in Chinese. But I think the guidebook I've mentioned just now is enough. I mean, different country, we have different situation, but I hope you can just get the useful info, like basic things, how to do the sanitation and how we just protect with our cashiers, these kind of things. Okay, so next page. Okay, I just saw this page. Okay, then we will talk about the O2O. Because in China, when the crisis happened, we are facing a huge challenge, as I mentioned, because people are asked to stay at home. So that mentioned the offline stores are facing huge challenge. But in China, the e-commerce is very popular, and so we're trying to use this advantage and to offer more products and foods to the peoples. So we discover our emergent O2O business. Like we claim that we offer the 3 kilometer in 1 hour and 10 kilometer in half day this service. And by this service, we just reached a lot of communities and peoples. I can show you more detailed data on the next page. Okay, finally I get this page. You can see here, I put just some numbers of our auto business here. You can find that, and we just selected the date from February the 14th to March 14th as 1 month, and compare the data during this month with the month before to get some info. And you see, after during this months, we find the home delivery service, up to over 400% compared to the months before, and it covered the communities over 350,000 communities, and the people even reached to 18 million people. And what we offer, we cannot offer everything within our stores, but we mainly offer that very closely related with our daily life, like the foods. That's the most important things. And because in China, the South China and North China have some difference. You can see, and let's see the data in the South China, the top 5 best selling goods. The first one is the milk, and also this is also the milk is also the top one in North China. So that may means give us some hint. During these months, people are eager, or maybe it's the best way for them to get rich some nutritional foods like milk. And the second one is citrus. So it's kind of fruit. And also you can see on the list there are tomato, corn, and the kive. And these are all the the fruits and the vegetables. And you may find some interesting data in the North China that on the top 3 there are beers. Maybe people especially when we're facing this terrible crisis, people want to relax, so they choose the beer reach to the top 3 categories. Okay, so next please. So next one, you can see some more interesting data, because today we are talking about nutrition and health, and I think the crisis is a crisis, but in some words, it's a good period for us to observe people's behavior, because during the crisis, people have to stay at home. They have to change their habit. Maybe some people, they are used to eat in the restaurant, but during this crisis months, they have to stay at home and cook by themselves. So they have to buy all the foods, maybe from our auto online or with our retailers. So it's a very good window for us to observe people's behavior change. And you can see that the sales of the vegetables, increased over 700, year on year, especially the leafy is the top one, vegetables increased during the crisis. And also the roots and other foods increased much. And you can see the picture on the down right. Our staffs just show a bill list of people what they have bought in our O2O platform. That's just to show how much items they have bought online. So this crisis changed people's life, may also change the people behaviors. And you can see we cannot say definitely it means people trying to prefer more leafy or vegetables, but it's a very interesting windows for us to think the the things behind this. Okay, so next page please. And I think when this happened, a lot of people we've never experienced, although we have facing SARS, but this time this is not only in China, it's now it's like worldwide crisis. So people are scared and people don't know how what they can do. So at this moment, the scientific communication become much and more important. So you can see at the very beginning of this crisis start, WHO published a lot of posters on their public account in the social media, and write what can we do when we're facing the new coronavirus. So when we find this information, we do immediately to do one thing. We print it out and ask all of our stores to post it in the stores to let every our customer to know it. And also we also use some online tools. We have a public social media account and under the name of CAFO China Food Safety and Nutrition and Health Institute. So we also put a lot of scientific communication papers on our account, especially during those months. We almost publish the paper each week for some like experts explanation or what can we do, these kind of things. And also I think we would like one thing is we want to know how we can facing about the virus. Another most important thing people are thinking is what can I do to get much stronger. So to this part, the nutrition and health part come to our brains. So next page please. Okay, you can see because March 15 is the Chinese Consumer Day. It's a big day for the manufacturers and the retailers in China, because normally on this day, a lot of like issues or medias will report about some food safety or quality issues, and also during the March, around the days of the Consumer Day, people will take care more about about the quality, about the food, these kind of things. So this year on the Consumer Day, we choose a different way. We launched an event we called Nutrition on Cloud. So that means we used the online tools and invited registered dietitians to share the key nutrition diet informations, through the online platform. Like you can see on the top left, the gentleman, actually he is a very famous dietitian in China. On the social media, he has over 1 million fans. So we invited him in our stores and to share about very useful nutrition information. And I think the consumers love it. So finally, you can see we reached over 70,000 audience online, about a total, audience for this Nutrition on Cloud events. And also with offline, because this online information we just launched in several of the stores, but we're trying to leverage more people. So we put 15 topics of the nutritional diet guidance that we called communication card. You can see on the picture on the bottom right, the lady just showed this communication card in stores. That means when our consumer, they want to buy foods, they think, how can I be more stronger? Maybe I need more protein, but or need vitamin C. So how can I, which kind of fruits contain more vitamin C, these kind of things. So we put a lot of this kind of nutrition diet guidance in our stores to guide people, to do a better choice. So next page, please. And also, as I mentioned, this event is supported by the China Nutrition Society. That's the very famous society in China. And about the scientific communication part, actually, this Nutrition on Cloud is not a start. Actually, it's a sustainable event, continued, with what we have done with CGF, with CHL during last year. So here I just would like to show you about the events we launched in last year. So you can see during the second week of September for China, we launched this kind of what we called healthy choice shelf, healthy guidance shelf in stores. And this project, we collaborate with a lot of our manufacturers like Danone, Nestle, Mondelez, and also China Nutrition Society. We choose these because in China, China NIH government, they recommend 3 reduction products. That means the lower oil, salt, and sugar. So we put these 3 reduction products on the healthy guidance shelf and to guide people how to choose more nutritional foods. And also we launched an event in Beijing in one store, and we invited secondary school students here during the store and let them to do some trial to choose the healthy food in our stores. And then we invited nutrition to give them some suggestions. Did they do a correct choice or not? And I think with this kind of event or the health guidance shelf, we're trying to spread this concept, or trying to leverage more consumers to better understand what it does means, the healthy food. And I think we, as I mentioned, this is just a start. And during the next several months, we'll become to China Nutrition Week is on May. So from now on, we are also planning a lot of plans with our manufacturers together to continue about our what we call the healthy guidance shelf or healthy guidance project. I think Mr. Duncan will explain more about our detailed project. So I think up to now, I would just share, what we have done during the past, I think, over 1 month, and what we have done about to facing the crisis. I would just like to share this info. Maybe in different countries, you may facing a different challenge, but one thing is, the same. That is, we are very confident that we can just fight over it and recover from the crisis. And I hope what I have shared today can help a little bit with all of you. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, and thank you for giving hope to everyone wherever they're sitting in the world. And we'll share the booklet and the video with the participants afterwards. So we'll move on to our next speaker from Freshiko Baba. And I'll just make sure that you are unmuted, or if you can unmute your microphone. There you go. Perfect. So a very warm welcome, and thank you very much, Zulin Guo, for being with us today and sharing how Fresh Hippo and the Alibaba Group are fighting against COVID-19, and then we will give you further details on our collective perspective. Over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sharon, and thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity to share our experiences during this crisis. And yeah, first of all, I also want to say that I also feel very sorry that this epidemic has also spread to other parts of the world, and many places have been hit really hard. And it's really a tragical thing, and I hope through the coordinated efforts from all parts of the world, and both the public and the private sectors effort, and we will control this crisis, and we will finally win it. Okay, next page. Yeah, as you may know that this epidemic spread fast in China at the end of January, 3 days before the traditional Chinese New Year. So a lot of people are preparing, or they've already gone back home to celebrate this special festival with their family members and friends. And because we are at the forefront of serving communities, so we continue to work until January 22, that we heard some news that this virus is spreading quickly in Wuhan. So the group, Alibaba Group, they had a very confidential meeting on that day that this may create a lot of trouble for the whole country. So the management team have quickly decided that a special task force had to be set up to coordinate all the efforts from different business groups. So starting on that day, all different business units from Alibaba Group have joined together as one team to fight over the virus. Teams from Aliyun, the cloud service, from Cainiao, the smart logistics, from Tmall and Taobao, and the traditional C2C retail platform, and also Alipay, which is a local payment wallet, and also Fresh Hippo Us, which is the online and offline retailers in China. So starting from January 22, we have become one team within the group to source every possible resources, including the PPEs and some other supplies to support the various areas, especially Wuhan. And especially the management team have set up a fund of around $40 million to help Wuhan. And Aliyun, they also used their expertise in AI to shorten the time period to do the diagnostics of the suspected cases. And Cainiao, they set up a virus screening channel to speed the medical supply delivery from over 15 countries, so that all those supplies can arrive China, with green lights in around 24 hours. And Tmall, together with hundreds of merchants, they also donated around RMB 2 billion of supplies and cash. And Alipay, they've also offered free insurances for all the medical staff that are at the forefront line of fighting the virus. And the whole Alibaba Group have offered all the merchants on different platforms there's some concessions of the commission phase. I think it's for at least for 3 months. And for us, because for us, Fresh Hippo, next page. Because we are not only operating online, and though online is our major part of the business, and in which over 70% of our sales is from online, but we do have offline presences. So on that day, we have made a decision that in all across the country, for 200 of our stores, and we have, we promised to our customers that we will not close the stores and we will not hike the prices, for all those products. And we also ensure that there will be enough supplies, enough products on the shelves. Because we've noticed early signs of customers, they are flooding into our stores, both online and offline, to buy the food. So we give them those 3 promises, and that was carried out all through the country in 200 stores of us. And that was on January 22. And on January 23rd, the city of Wuhan was locked down. And so people get worried. They worry where they can, get their food. And so our team in Wuhan, they did a really good job. So in the first minute, they talked with the suppliers, to secure all those products, to make sure that there will be enough stocks, will be enough inventories to supply the city. And the amount we estimated afterwards is around like 4 times of the euro amount we sell for that period of time. And that's not enough, because so many people, they're worried about the food, and so they flooded to the stores, and both online and offline, and all the orders kind of flooded us, and all our online orders was kind of ordered by customers like in less 1 hour, and all our offline stores, the shelves, most of them become empty. Like the first few hours we put stuff on the shelves. So you found that we have to do some extra work. So on January 24, and we had a management meeting, and we called in all our teams across the country that we have to support Wuhan, and especially from headquarters to Shanghai. And so on that day, and quickly we assembled enough goods and also trucks, so that we can send around 4.2 tons of supplies from Shanghai to Wuhan, and starting on that day and continued until I think the end of January. So every day we shipped over 4 big trucks of supplies, including those personal protective equipments, and also vegetables, milks, and fast noodles, and water, and oil, and the rice, and those supplies to Wuhan every day, like 4 big trucks, and non-stop until the end of February. And on January 25, and the Alibaba Group have set up a emergency team to support Wuhan. And so each business unit got their customized assignments. And because we have stores in the city, so our task is to help support all those volunteers from other cities of the country, so that they could have their daily meals be prepared, from the breakfast, their lunch, and their dinner, because at that time basically all the restaurants was closed, and not too many supermarkets or hypermarkets was running, and there's no other ways they can get their food on a timely and quantity basis. So we took this task and make sure all those volunteers from different cities they will have enough food for the day. And that basically continued from January 25 so to the end of March. And when those volunteers, they have returned from their respective cities. And we also did a lot of other things, and one interesting kind of story is that on February 2nd, and we received one kind of request from very famous people. They're saying that there are a lot of animals in the Wuhan zoo is kind of dying because they don't have enough food, and all the workers have have no other ways to solve the problem. And so they reach out to us and ask our help. And we found that we have some of the little kind of the seafood or little fishes, that in our stores and also in our warehouses that we don't sell. So we ship those little seafood and little fishes to the Wuhan Zoo, and to solve that food shortage problem for them. And yeah, that's one interesting anecdote. And also because we have much more business than Euro during this time period, as Dr. Yuan have shared before. And our orders also multiplied, and both online and offline. And many of our workers have gone back home. So we are also short of workers in our stores. Well, at the same time, a lot of restaurants, even those big and famous chain restaurants in China, they cannot open, and they have a lot of staff, has nothing to do. So we come up with the idea that why not share their staff with them, so that they can work in our stores. While at the same time, it can also solve our problem of the labor shortage. So we launched this initiative first in Beijing, and it was widely accepted, by the whole restaurant industry. And starts then, all those restaurants in different cities of the country, they came to us and they joined this staff sharing program together, so that both they both solve the problem of their own, but also help us to run our business and also to fulfill on the online orders for us. And this also become kind of a widespread kind of a best industry practice during this crisis, that many restaurants and many kind of labor intensive industries, they would like to use even after. And yeah, I don't want to touch on too much of the kind of the sales numbers, because Dr. Ren have shared that before, and we have similar patterns, and the customers have bought a lot of fresh vegetables from us, a lot of milk, and a lot of those nutritious products from us. And we're really busy, and we had a very good kind of very good season of the year. And the business results for us is really good. And also one thing that really kind of excited us is that through fighting this kind of we call the war together, and we found that our staff and our employees, and they've been more confident of our business. They have been more united with each other, and they're becoming more trust of each other. They also becoming more trust of the company, and because they really see the value we're providing to to the people and to the society. And we found that during this special time, our staff at work, they working much more harder than before, and many of them even invited their friends, their family members, to join them to work together to serve our customers. And this has really kind of touched us and really excited us, because we've never seen such thing happen before. And all of us become very confident that we would have much brighter future after this war. And yeah, and at last, I also want to share some of the insights we got from the market. And yeah, next page is like how consumers are changing through and after this crisis. And I especially want to emphasize three big trends. And the first is that we find the customers have formed a new shopping habit. If you know us before, that we have a very big part of the orders is from online, which accounts normally for 60%, for some of the stores as high as 70%. But at this time of the period, because people, they're locked in their homes, they cannot get out, so they can only, cook food for themselves. And so we found that our online orders have increased much more than before. And on average, that percentage have reached from 60%, 70% to as high as 80% and 90%. And in Wuhan, sometimes is like 95%. So people, consumers, have becoming relying on this service to sustain their life and to sustain their family. And after this 2 months of this lockdown period, many people, young and old, whether they are in the city like in Shanghai, or they are in like third tier or fourth tier cities, like in a small village, in a small town, they've all learned how to buy fresh food online. And this has become a widespread trend, and also widespread shopping habit across the country. And so we found this is especially interesting, because this is where we have been doing for the last 4 years, and we invested a lot of assets, and we really see its returns. And the second trend is that we found a lot of people, they're buying products we call the 3R products. 3R stands for ready to cook, ready to heat, and ready to eat. Basically, the meal kits, that are easily to prepare, especially for young people, because they don't know how to cook. But at this time, they really have no other ways. They have to cook for themselves. But how? So they need some, delicious, easy to prepare, and some, fast meal kits to help them to, go through these difficult times. And luckily that, we have invested in this category over the past 3 years, and now we see its return. And this category, the performance of this category increased multiples. And more importantly, that customers, through this category, they know us and they become our loyal customers. And they not only buy products from this category, they also buy a lot of others. So this have greatly increased our user acquisition and also our user loyalty. And the third focus, I think everyone knows, is that after this crisis, people they are putting more focus on health. This is also I think what sharing other stuff at the CLCL team is rightly doing before even before this crisis, that people are focusing more and more on the health, what kind of food they eat. And for us, we found also the consumption, the shopping of those healthy food also increased multiple, and especially our organic, organic category, where customers, really like them, and they bought much more than before. And yeah, those are the three consumption trends I found. And for the last thing, I want also to share, because I think the audience is mainly the retailers, is that this period is a very hard period, and but if we work together with the team, both management team, also the staff, and work together with our suppliers and vendors, and if we work together with our customers, we can finally win this. And we've won this in China, and I'm also very confident that we will win it in all of the world. And thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Grove, for sharing that. And just before we go to questions, the co-chair of CHL in China, Mr. Zhu from Nestle, is going to give us an overview on the collective response to COVID-19. And then I see we have many questions coming in through the chat. So we'll have the last couple of minutes for questions. So over to you, Duncan.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for the first two speakers. So I will be very fast to save the time for the question and answers for the excellent speech. So for the first page, I'm just showing what we've been discussed at the beginning of this year. But since the epidemic happened, indeed, we noted the concerns for the food, nutrition, and health is still increasing. So we may have more participants for the events and also try to scale up with more stores to have more people coverage. This is also reflecting the consumer needs. So still, as earlier discussed, we'll try to cover both offline and online activity. But since this epidemic, and also even now in China, we are already at post-epidemic period, but we may still get more effort on the online activity as people are still recommended to be more, keep safety distance with each other. So if you go for next page. So for this year, we have a proposal to leverage China National Nutrition Week to have a kickoff event to enable the activity be more promoted or get higher awareness for all the consumers. So in China, every year, the China Nutrition Society and the National Health Commission will organize the National Nutrition Week on the third week of May. So this year, due to the epidemic, the topic for the National Nutrition Week has been switched to that balanced diet worked as a foundation of immunity, which is covering a lot of the consumers' common concerns. And on the first day of the event, we'll try to make an announcement or release of data together with China Nutrition Society for what is the epidemic impact on the shopper behaviors before, during, and after this special period. We may also combine with some the specialists or nutritionist interpretation on the data to be able to guide the consumers to choose more healthier food or take more responsible behavior during this special period. And on this, we also take the chance, they have organized a special forum focused on reducing sugar, but we'll take this as a kickoff event for this year's key activity on the healthy shelf that to be launched among all our retailer stores. So in next page, I will give more details for this part. So in 2019, indeed, we have already started the healthy shelf in a few of the Carrefour and some of the SunUp store, and that is only for a pilot period for 2 weeks. And we got very good feedback both from the consumer authority and also from the business itself that all the promoted products get higher awareness and also higher sales return. So this year, we're going to expand the store coverage, and also for some of the stores, we'll turn into a pilot shelf into a permanent long-term shelf. So to be able to promote those healthy products better. So this will also not only be applied offline, so we also discuss on online part on some of the stores. I think more details come later with Hema, Carrefour, Suning store, and also some other retailers on the online platform. We may have a special segment to promote those products carrying this healthier image or nutrition value. So for online proposal part, we have to work more details, and we will be happy to also learn from other market. But the early discussion, we said we're covering the healthy check-in and the education program. But this will not be only stay at education, but how we build together with ecosystem to lead to real product recommendation. And this recommendation will be combined with the personal data that try to make it tailor-made to be more personalized nutrition advice for this part. So overall, I think this is a very quick update for the this year's plan. So in next 2 months' time, we're going to work on more detail. Indeed, it's 1.5 months. Work out more details, and the kickoff will be by the National Nutrition Week and last for some for 2 weeks, some for a longer time. So one thing I just want to add, where Dr. Ren and Xu mentioned that we have observed a lot of the sales changes that due to the behavior changes, the fresh vegetable and fruit sales increase a lot on the online store. This is partially due to the people switch from the offline purchase to online purchase, and partially also due to the consumption switch from the out-of-home restaurant consumption to in-home consumption. But to know details how each of the families, how each individual impact on their daily diet by this epidemic. So I think that's very interesting sharing. Last week, we got from the director of the Nutrition Institute of China CDC that they have he has led a team to visit Wuhan for around 2 to 3 weeks. That is by early March, to try to understand what is the real impact for the families who's been recommended to stay home or quarantined during this special period. So one observation we found that consumption of all the rice, flour, and cooking oil and eggs will stay less affected, so almost the same value as before. But the real intake of seafood, vegetables, fruits, and soybeans has decreased a lot. That is partially due to the availability and price, and also partially due to the consumer behavior change. And one thing also recommended or observed, indeed, during this special period, that most of the in-home consumption, the total energy intake, is not decreased but increased. And in parallel, the daily exercise level is decreased a lot. People spend much less time or ever no chance to go outside, and also no sunshine exposure. In particular, this may impact for elderly and students. And inside, spend much longer time for watching TV or spending in front of the screen to play with their mobile phones. So all these may lead to a lot of risk for the physical changes. And also due to this less physical activity, this may lead to the mental change or depression. So on this part, it is highly recommended for both our consumers and also our staff. So we may have a program, first definitely for this balanced diet, how to choose a variety of food during the special period, but also to have a program to encourage people to still keep regular exercise, even staying home. So I know some of the companies, they are recommending their staff to do daily online check-in for exercise. And I've also seen companies have a gym program that they have a professional coach to have a 1 hour coach class online per day for their staff. All this will help the staff, to keep connected and also keep relatively higher exercise level. This will also lead to, better emotional impact and less risk for depression. So I think that is something we would recommend for all the members of CHL that could apply, or if you already applied in the company, this is very good things that we can encourage further. So that's all the sharing from my part. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Duncan, and to all of our speakers. And the hour has gone so quickly. There's just so many insights that have come from China. Thank you so much. I see that there are questions that have come through. We will get back to you. There was one, maybe I'll try to just fit in one question. It was very interesting. Was in terms of in China, what happened is because the phenomenon is happening here in Europe and in the US, all of the restaurants are closed and some of the food that has been designated for restaurant consumption, was there an agreement in terms of putting that into the supermarket supply chain or online supply chain? Did that actually happen, and how did you do that? I don't know if that's a quick question we could do before we finish the webinar today. And for all the rest of you, we will get back to you directly with your questions. So was there any type of agreement between restaurants and retail in terms of food supply chain? You mentioned staffing, but was there anything in terms of the food supply chain?
Please unmute your microphone.
So Ms. Wren, if you would like to take that, or Mr. Guo.
Yeah, maybe I can touch on this a little bit. So we noticed that in China, many restaurants, they do several things. First is doing the online business. So, but this only can maximum accounts for, I think, 30% of the, their business. And so what about the rest of the 70%? I found some of the merchants, they have some really innovative ideas. I mean, instead of preparing the hot dishes, they prepared those, also we call it the meal kits. I mean, the 3R products, especially. So to sell on the retail channels, they open many retail channels. They can sell through, Tmall, through Taobao, through Alipay. They can also sell through, like Ele.me or Meituan, which is like DoorDash or, or Groupon, some kind of online channels. And, this is critical. And I also, studies I also observed that many of them, they just sell, their raw materials to, to some other kind of retailers like us. So, we have coordinated with some of the restaurants to sell some of the raw materials at a discount to our customers, which also, received a lot of applause. So, yeah, I mean, in the long run, I think the restaurant industry, they have realized that they cannot really only rely on like the one channel, which is offline. So they have to develop multiple channel capabilities, multiple channel marketing capabilities as well. Yeah, in case anything like this happen again, and I do hope not, but I think we have to be prepared. Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. And for the other questions, I promise we will reply to all the questions that have come through. I will personally follow up with all of you on your questions as we have come up to the end of our time. So a huge thank you to all of our speakers. The CCFA guide, it was shared on the Global Learning Mechanism, or GLM community. If you haven't seen it, or reach out to me, send me an email and I'll send that through to you. And any other details or questions that you would like from our speakers, don't hesitate to reach out to me, s.bly@theconsumergoodsforum.com, or if you want to get involved in collaboration for healthier lives, whether it's in China or in any of the other markets where we're present, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And there's a bright future for health. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. Thank you.